Hey, how's it going? I swear to God, I am not doing this a fifth time. This better work. Today, I want to talk about an episode of Star Trek Enterprise, number 18 from season 2, called The Crossing. This channel is entertainment, opinion, commentary. It's not the end of the world. Just if you don't like it, you can move on easily enough. And oh yeah, always with the spoilers. Just expect it because that's just the way I do it here. And that's about all I can think of as far as housekeeping. I guess I'll just move on. So the crew of Enterprise is on their 5-year mission, cruising around out in space, and Commander Reed spies through a screen. They're not on a submarine. I don't know why my brain was trying to tell me a portal, but yeah. So he catches sight of colorful, sort of ethereal smoke. And he comments on it, and it's almost like it catches their attention. So they come up closer, and people are like, wow, and then they actually come through the hull into the ship because they're not solid. And once they're inside the ship, one of them briefly dips into Commander Tucker, like by jumping his body, but penetrating it, and like the smoke goes in him and pushes his consciousness aside and sort of like taking everything in. And people are like, Tucker, are you okay? Tucker, can you hear me? And it's just for like seconds, and it shoots back out. And Tucker's like, wow, that was amazing. Like, what was that? And uh, everyone is, of course, suitably freaked, a little bit freaked out. Like, right up in front, it's like a consent thing. Like, don't just jump me, right? But they don't know what it is at first. But Tucker can give them some insight because what happened while he was there, and one presence was obviously uppermost and visible outwardly, he was still in there subconsciously and sort of like able to check out things from a different perspective than his own human self would normally be able to do. Because, these things, as we find out, were once corporeal, and but it had been a very long time, and they say at one point that it had been like some ridiculous 5-digit number, thousands of years, that, or not five, yeah, five digit, excuse me. Anyway, it was a long time since they ate or pooped or sweated or sexed, and they're like, man, we really want to do it again. So they made a proposition, or sort of gave a sort of accurate reason for, like, a proposal. Can we basically walk in you? Can we, like, share your space? But really, what they wanted to do was consume, like, your soul energy or whatever, or just take it over. Like, you had enough time. It's my turn. It's like, but no, it's not your anything. But they don't know this at first. At first they think, well, you know, Tucker seems okay. He seems to have experienced something we should all see. So let's cautiously give it a try. And fortunately, not everyone is like a suitable host for these entities, because their doctor, Phlox, who, is Mr. Curiosity, is intrigued by the idea, and they don't like the flavor of Phlox, so they can't, do it with him. They can't be in him. So they got one unaltered mind, which is good, because they need it, it turns out later. But how these things go. There's got to be some action sequence in the script, so it's moving along into there. And they gradually realize that these things have ulterior motives, which the captain, for instance, and others understandably were suspicious of, and even Tucker was aware of the possibility. So, since they can't like escape these things because they can go anywhere, they're not breathing, they don't have meat, and where can the people go? They can, even if they jump on a shuttle, nothing to stop them from doing the same thing, right? These things are like, I don't know, rave smoke or something with laser lights going through them. That's what they look like. But they they figure out that in the nacelles, which are the long rods on the ship, um, the metal that's used in them or something emits some sort of field or energy, something that the smoke can't deal with. That makes the smoke sick. It repels the smoke. It's from Smarter Image. Excuse me. So anyway, they are hiding in themselves, the majority of the crew, and I think they may have been able to hang on to some crew members, like the wisps. The wisps. Sorry, the wisps. They're evil though. But that's their little job in the scenario. So anyway, they're in the nacelles, and then the things figure out like, hey, we can actually get in there if we, attack Phlox while he's trying to make it so the whole ship can repel the things. And they're attacking Phlox, and he's not really a fighter, but he ends up getting him. It's actually a good, funny fight scene. And he, of course, he gets help, and someone else comes along just in the nick of space time. But I did want to point out, though, it's a good thing they figured out, because if they couldn't, like, be there, they couldn't run. There was nowhere to go. You can't hold your breath. It doesn't even matter if you hold your breath, because I think your blood explodes you or something. I don't know if that's real, though. That might be inflamed, like, ficto science. But anyway, they find their way, or they find out what's going on with the wisps, and are able to eventually, you know, succeed and run them off, and yay, they win the day, and everybody lives and stuff. But it was just a very interesting um, sort of set of situations, events. They have like analog, sorry, fake teeth. They have analog in like the woo woo community. Like, if you're interested, there's a phenomenon called the walk-in, and that is basically the process of someone agreeing to let someone come in, like the smoke did, the wisps did, and like go about as you, function as you, presumably, like not get all wild and start killing people and whatever bad thing, or whatever's the opposite of your normal behavior. And the other person, I believe, well, this has never been explained really clearly, because you're not getting like a manual from the manufacturer. This is like esoteric stuff. Like, nobody has a real solid grip on the technology, the procedure, the operation. Like, a lot of this stuff is like unique to each person. So it's hard to define stuff. But the consciousness is either there alongside, or it's off somewhere else, because when I first read it, I thought, well, there have been times in my life where I've really felt like times where I'd been like suicidal or whatever, and like serious, well, I had actually hurt myself, like made attempts. And so times like that, you might feel like, yeah, heck yeah, I'll go to, like, can I go to a different planet? Can I be on a spaceship? Can I be a log? Can I be a bean? Like, you just want to get out of yourself and not experience whatever the horribleness is that you happen to be feeling. And that's like one thing, but I also, like, I can tell you of a guy named Lee Carroll who channels an entity called Cryon. And if you want to know what that's all about in more detail, you have something to put in the search bar. But what the Cryon says about the human Lee Carroll who channels it is that my partner steps aside. So he's there in a limited capacity for reasons, and he does occasionally contribute to the conversation or edit the cryon, which is funny. And there's other laughs in there too, by the way. So, but you know, in that case, and in the case of Daniel Scranton, who channels the Arcturians, both humans that are channeling the entity are there. They're conscious. Like I said, Lee Carroll contributes to the dialogue that contributes to the monologue that Cryon is making. And occasionally, very occasionally, Daniel Scranton's cat will come up while the Arcturians are talking away through him, and he's doing his channeling energy funnel swim or whatever that is. I don't know how to call it. But his cat will jump up on the table and he'll just be talking and petting and channeling. It's like they're there in some capacity in, I guess, every case. Although, like I said, the walk-in thing I've read and heard watching videos, I don't know, like I said, there's all kind of shades of everything. You just never know. So there was that. And then there's also, like, for me right now, the idea of consent is so important. I mean, to the personal, from the personal to like what the hell with eminent domain? Okay, I'm gonna finish up after this last bit, but John Oliver on his last show was talking about how some black people in California were being returned land. I think they were at least recognized that the land had been theirs, but it was taken by white people. Like 100%, like that's what happened. No shade, no nuance. That's what it was. And so, Oliver's commenting on like how great it is that these people are getting the recognition and potentially their land back, actually physically, and other forms of reparations may be in the works. But I thought of the people that were there before, the black people or the Spanish people or any other, conquering colonials or whatever, like any people that came in and dislocated the natives. And that's the thing, like there were probably Mexicans and Mexican Indians or like whatever. There were already people there, and like all these white people came in, and I remember in school in California reading about, whole tribes that were just, there was one that it's still like just kind of guts me. I remember the actual name of the tribe because it was an offshoot of another tribe, and it's not like a real common name, and that's not important. But what is important that I'm saying is that we learned of the guy, Ishi, was the last surviving member of his tribe. So when he died, he was gone. And by the time I studied this in fourth grade, he was gone. They were gone. Like that just can you imagine? What if it was your family? And so nobody asked them. They're just like, oh, you don't bathe, you don't smell right, you don't look, your clothes are not like our clothes, like you don't have buckles on everything and big peaked stupid hats. Sorry, I'm upset because these colonizers are messing with native people again with pipelines and trying to kick them. They already moved these people and dropped eminent domain on, like, if not their specific tribe, many over like a couple of 100 years now. And I'm like so sick of it. Like, yeah, why you people do not know how to act when you go to other people's house. But I got a whole thing about the native thing. Not going to do that right now, but what I wanted to get to was all these reparations they're talking about handing out to like black people and people getting stuff back. And I don't hear very much about what's being done for the native community that were in this country. And I think it totally sucks. They're still treated, they are not criminals. They were just here first. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. Thank you and good night.